virtually. I'll say good morning to those who are watching the replay, or hello. This is Wednesday, April 20th. I'm Dano. This is our weekly get-together, near weekly get-together for members of the Uke Club. So it looks like we have a nice crowd here today, and I welcome one and all. And thanks to those of you who can make it in real time. It's always much more interesting to have a little give and take as we go through this stuff. So where I am in Massachusetts, it's spring break, and I was going to try to flip the camera around and expose my 10-year-old son who's lurking in the background, but he's too shy to come on screen with me. So kids are out of school. There he is. All right, get out of here, knucklehead. So this is what we're talking about in our little lessons today. I think the advantage of these once a week get-togethers is that we can talk something through. You can have some time to think it through, work it through, and then ask questions of me, which many people do via email or via the Facebook group. And then when we get back together, I can sort of respond to those questions in the lesson that I've put together for you now. So one thing that a couple of people mentioned was they weren't familiar with the song Wildwood Flower, despite it being an old-time country classic. So we're talking about different ways to get a single note melody of a song. So I decided that rather than continue on with Wildwood Flower, even though it is a song everybody should know, we could take a look at Home on the Range. I'm seeing this as a mirror image, and it just made me realize that maybe every time I've ever held up a piece of paper, you have seen it as a mirror image. I'll have to check into that. Dawn is here. Hi, Dawn. Glad to have you. So there is that download link. Oh, Jerry says it looks okay. Good. There is that download link showing up on the screen for Home on the Range. I'll paste the link into the comments area so you can get it. You don't need it in front of you. What we're talking about today is simple enough that you may want to have it as a resource, but you don't need it right this second. This is a simplified version of Home on the Range. I found a nice version with the tablature, but it didn't have the chords written in. And Home on the Range can be as complicated as you want it to be, but I've just added chord names to make it a 3-chord song. So here's what we're talking about, friends. Do you remember last time we talked about this idea of selective strumming? And basically what that means is rather than strumming down across all 4 strings every single time, which is what you do when you're strumming a song, you can choose which strings to strum down across, with the idea being that you're trying to emphasize a single string, which would be the melody note of the song. So that was the beginning of Wildwood Flower from last time. So I didn't mention, for those of you who are new, and we have a few newbies today, you can type in a question at any time if you don't want to come on screen with me in the comments area. So because we have a whole video existing on this, I don't want to backpedal too much. But if you do have questions about it, let me know. So that's the basic idea of selective strumming. You can strum 2 middle strings. You could strum just strings 1 and 2, closest to the floor. You could strum down ceiling to floor across 4, 3, 2, not going past string 1. And that's what you would do if your melody was on string 2. So you strum 2 and include the string that has the melody. So that's the key concept that I want you to get. That's from last time. And today, really, what I have to add to this is very simple and yet a little confusing. I've actually put some time and thought into trying to think of the best way to explain it, because this is not something that I've taught before, and yet it's an invaluable skill. So if I'm not explaining it clearly, I hope you will chime in with questions. the idea is that in between melody notes, whatever you happen to be picking out via selective strum for your melody, whenever there's a space, a half note or a quarter note, if you're thinking in terms of eighth notes, you can fill in the space with a strum. You can fill in the space left by the melody with a strum. Now, I don't play piano, but I think in probably what my boy just yelled, I do. Imagine playing the melody of the song here with your right hand, and your left hand can just keep pulsing the rhythm of the song. Bum, 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 da, 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 da. And while I'm holding the note here, da, the left hand is still pulsing. Bum, 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 bum. So while that right hand note is ringing out, the left hand is still doing the rhythm, let's call it. That's what it is. So we can simulate that feel on the ukulele. You got to have the count, the beat in mind. And whenever there is space between the melody notes that you're playing, then you just strum. So if that's my simple melody, I'll do a real example here in a second. Bum, bum, bum. And then I revert to the strum. Here's just the melody with no strumming. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So during all that time when there's not a new melody note coming into play, you can fill up the space with the strum. So again, using this very simple, kind of dumb example. 2, 3, 4, 1. What strum do you use? It doesn't matter. All you're doing a strum that's on the beat. All right. That really is the concept. I'll give you a more concrete example here with Home on the Range. But conceptually, is that making sense at this point? Any questions, concerns, problems? Anything you need to get off your chest? Good. All right. Steph is here. Hi, Steph. So I'm looking at the Home on the Range tab now. Our chords are, oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. So if you're following along at home, that's F. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the F and the antelope play. All right. So this has the tab written out for you if you want to look it up. My suggestion is when you're working on something like this, see if you can work out the melody yourself. I swear it's true. If you work out the melody yourself, it'll stick with you. You'll understand it better. You'll have it'll lock into your brain better. And not only will that specific song lock into your brain better, but you're working out knowledge for future songs. Once you figure out one song, the second song that you figure out is that much easier, and so on, and so on, and so on. So let me just I don't want to do it note by note by note through the whole song, but I do want to do it note by note for a couple of measures to sort of give you the idea and then set you free to work it out. So it's coming in on an F chord. Oh, give me a home. So let's just look at that. Measure 1 if you've got the tablature in front of you. If you don't worry about it. I'm telling you everything you need to know right now. I'm holding an F chord. I'm going to do selective strumming. So let's look at that for just a second. Here's the melody note. Oh, give me. Now, there are times when playing it exactly the way I just played it is the right thing to do, where it would sound nice to have it that simple and that clean, the single notes, in other words. But using the idea of selective strumming, you could, our first note is on string 3, open, part of the F chord. Using selective strumming, you could strum strings 4 and 3 together. Because of our reentrant tuning with the high note there, you may decide you don't like that. This is where your particular skill can come into play. You can make it sound a little nicer by not focusing too much on the high 4th string. So those are our first 2 notes. Oh, give. And then I go right down to the F note of the F chord. Oh, give me. Now again, you can use selective strumming, or you can be more selective about your selective strumming and just play the single note. So first 3 notes again. I know this is very repetitive. That's where it's really sounding nice to me. The melody note, oh, give me a home, first string open. And when you strum across and let that melody note ring out, it just feels satisfying. Now, right there, that was my first strum. After home, hey Joe, glad to have you here. After you go past home, oh, give me a home, there's a beat where nothing's happening in the melody. Oh, give me a home, strum, where the buffalo roams, strum, where the deer, strum, and the antelope, 1, 2, 3, 1. And it's all strum. After play, strum, strum, strum. You're just waiting for the next line to come around. So that's what I'm trying to drive home to you today, is be aware of the spaces created in the melody, fill in the spaces with a strum. That's as clear as I ever hoped to say it. So I hope that's clear to you. So I'm doing a little bit of selective strumming and focusing on filling in the empty spaces. Strum, strum, single note. I'm not choosing to do deer and the antelope because it happens so fast and it's all the way on string 2. I don't want to do a selective strum down to it for deer and the antelope. It's too much. So I'm choosing to play single notes there. Deer and the, well, no, I'm out of place. Where the deer and the antelope play. So that's the concept. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm happy to take questions. And let me give you one little tip before I shut down this session. If you find yourself working from this tab or working up melodies on your own, because of the key we're playing in, a lot of our notes are that note. You know the tuning of our strings, right? G, C, E, A. So string closest to the ceiling is G. And in this key, that note comes up a lot. It comes up on where the deer and the antelope play. So that's the note of play. And because it's so close to the ceiling, if you play it as a selective strum, it really is just a single note pick. There's nothing else to fill it out. So something that you already know at some level is that your notes can be played at different spots on the ukulele. You get the same note on different strings. So G open, G on the 3rd string, That's fret 7. It also occurs on string 2, fret 3. Now you can tell I'm a little out of tune because they're not exactly matching up. But it's the G note. So very often, here's the point of my little ramble, very often, where the deer and the antelope play, I'll grab the G note on string 2. It doubles it up. It means you've got 2 G's and you're abbreviating your C chord, but it means that you can do a strum down to it and use it for movement within the chord. So for deer and the antelope, so just another way to think about doing the same thing. And one more little tip. If you're playing a song like this, completely instrumental style, you may want to match the lyrics word by word, syllable by syllable. But my preference overall is to get close. Like that little phrase, deer and the antelope play, because there's so much in there and it's 1 or 2 notes, deer and the antelope. Sorry about the kid. There's not a whole lot of variety in there. The notes are very compressed in time. So you may want to simplify it. Where the deer and the antelope. So I'm just doing the strum rather than matching every single syllable. So, the choice is yours. Play around with it. Do what sounds nice to you. Do what feels interesting to you. So, in summary, here's what we're looking at. The selective strumming that provides you melody notes. That was really what we examined last week and reviewed today a little bit. But then the key to making it sound like a song in a piece and not just a bunch of strung together single notes is to fill in the spaces between the melody phrases with strumming. So tap your foot as you play. If you're not playing a single note, then you should be playing a strum, unless you've made a conscious decision for some reason not to. But that would be basically the rule. If you're not playing a single note, then you are playing a strum. So great. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope that's helpful to you. I'm going to leave it right there, but I'm happy to take questions on that topic or any others. We've had a lot of folks jump in the last few minutes, so welcome one and all. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording, and then we can chat freely for a few minutes. To those of you watching the replay, I hope this is information you can use, and we'll check in again soon.